Let's talk about how to approach the windows on this building. That's what I think you're asking when you say the diagonal windows. I think what you're talking about is these windows that wrap around the building. Okay, now ultimately, what you want is for the building to match on both sides. Otherwise, it will look strange. So at this point, you've only done not horizontal, vertical lines on this building, on this side, which means that you'd probably also generally want to do vertical lines on this side. However, the wraparound windows are really cool, are a cool part of this building. So I think that what I would do, like the way that I would approach this, is probably do the same thing here as here and then include the wraparound windows as a separate third thing. So let me show you what I mean. I also think that this might be too light of a color. So what I'm going to do, and we just did this in the previous video, but I'm going to show you again. Now these are a bunch of different objects. So, I mean, it's one layer, but it's a bunch of different shapes. So if I wanted to recolor all of them, I chose a color, I hit G to get the paint bucket. I would need to hit each of them individually. Or I could use get the selection back and I could get the selection back and then hit edit, fill, and select it all that way. Okay, I think that this is a little more subtle and gradual. You could probably even go darker to make it less strange. Because I don't think the difference here is so great that there's such a great difference between light and dark. Anyway, so we're over here. Let's get the vertical lines first. I'm gonna make another layer. I guess what we can also, yeah, let's just get these vertical lines here. It's a little hard to see because of the lamppost, but we're going to do our best. And ultimately, if we can't see because of the lamppost, then the lamppost will cover what we mess up. Which really just means that you're going to need to include the lamppost. You're not going to be able to edit the lamppost out. Okay, so I'm just getting these vertical lines. I'm zooming in so that way it's easier to see. Okay. And then here, I think there are two more vertical lines. And then we have one more. And I'm just going to go like that. Over here. Okay, now I have the vertical lines. I'm going to turn this picture off. And then I'm going to fill it in. Gee, I want to pick a color. I don't know if it's going to be the right one. Oh, you know what? My layer's underneath layer 19, which is what the window, what the object actually is. So I just moved 43 on top of 19. Great. We have our vertical lines. Now, I'm going to do the wraparound windows separately. Okay, so the wraparound windows, I'm pretty sure we're just going to do the same way that we've been doing everything else, which is making a big selection of them. Now, we can't see the top because of the lamp post, but that's okay. And so I'm just making the big selection here. And I'm just going to kind of choose what I want to be in and what I want to be out, remembering that we're not going to be looking at the original building anyway. So we can just kind of take away what is easy to take away. Okay. So I just took that part away. You know what? Undo. I'm going to take this part away. And it doesn't need to be faithful to what is actually being taken away. It's just that if we use things that we see here, then we know we'll get the perspective right. So what I'm doing is really kind of taking away stuff that, incrementally, but just finding lines to use. And I just want to have kind of a space. Now it seems like I'm actually taking the windows away and leaving the building behind, which is fine because we won't know the difference. And I'm prioritizing speed here because I don't want this video to be too long. You should prioritize accuracy. Because if you prioritize accuracy, it will look better. Noticing that the further up we go, the smaller the selection should be because things look smaller when they're further away. And at this point, we can just get rid of the top. Okay, now I'm going to make another layer on top of layer 43, turn this off. Okay, and I'm also seeing that we have this part. We'll fix that in a minute. Okay, and let's paint this in. I'm going to choose this color. That's not a good color. I'm going to choose this. Now what we need to do is make sure that it wraps around well. Right now it is not. We see that the building doesn't wrap around because this is where it would wrap. The wrapping would happen here. We would want it to, we would want this part to match, to line up with this line, right? This, like you want the building to line up properly. Because this, undo without moving it, this is the center line. Now what we can also do here to make it clear that this side is the front and this side is the side, I'm going to hit Command to get the selection back, and I'm actually just going to go down the middle. And I'm going to make another layer. So I just got rid of this part of the selection, and I'm going to make this side brighter. I'm going to go to Edit, Fill. Okay, and now we have the light side and the dark side. Okay, and we see that this doesn't match. Before we had these two windows, this building looked fine. And I couldn't really tell that this layer and this layer didn't actually match up to what this building looks like. However, now we can tell, so let's fix it. And what I want to do to fix this is use not the photograph as the guide, but use the windows that we just made as the guide, because ultimately it doesn't matter if it's accurate to the picture, it matters if it's accurate to your composition. So let's get this layer. That will probably be, that's layer 18. And I just want to, I'm going to hold Command and again the thumbnail. And what it looks like is that your layer 18 actually is accurate. It's just that it's underneath layer 19. So really layer 18, which is the accurate one, should be on top. Instead of bumping layer 18 up, we're going to bump layer 19 down. That's actually much simpler. I thought we might have to add stuff, but all you had to do was rearrange the order of your layers. That was perfect. Good. All the better. So we just had to rearrange layers 18 and 19, and now this is looking pretty good. What we can do to add depth to this, because in theory, if we're looking up at this, we should be able to see this part of the ledge. We can check that on the photograph. Yeah, see, we can see underneath, we can see this. So what I would do here is, let's go back to layer 45 is just the light color one, but so I'm going to use layer 44 to get our selection. And we want to do something on top of layer 45. So I made layer 46. Now using the lasso tool, I'm going to subtract away the bottom parts so we can make a top ledge. And that's I know that I prioritize speed over accuracy in these, but like that was really wrong. And we're just gonna come to a point at the center and shouldn't be too lazy. Now I think this is gonna make it look really cool. Now you can also decide whether you want this to be a highlight or a shadow. Ledges are often in shadow, but because of your perspective, you might want to make it a highlight. But you know, you could just fill in the shape and then decide to recolor it depending on what looks best. Okay, I'm gonna hit Command 0 so we zoom back out. Now on layer 46, I'm gonna go for a shadow color and see how it looks. And you know what? I don't want that. I'm going to use a light color and see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. And now we can also, again, remembering that one side is light and one side is dark, we can hit Command, and then I'm making another layer. Now I'm using, again, the middle point. I'm going to take these away because we can't get lighter than white. So now I'm going to choose a darker color to make the highlight on this. And I think that that's not a good color because it's the same color as that. So let's go a little bit either lighter or darker. Nope. You know what? I'm just going to go with this one right here. Fill. Deselect. Undo. Let's try one more different color. Fill. Okay, I think that looks good enough. So, so that's probably how I would approach these windows. Now we have this cool wrapping around thing situation happening, and we also have this different sides matching, which is what we want. And you can even add more depth to these windows, not windows, these pillars. If we wanted, we could hold Command, make another layer, and then I would, I want this layer to be underneath. Then you could try, so let's start by making it on top. I would make this a darker color. And then we would move that underneath. And then you could try offsetting it to see what it looks like that. See, now you have some depth over there. You don't want to offset it too much because that'll look strange. I'm using my arrow tools, but doing this does give you extra depth. And you would do the same thing on the other side where you have here, and then we would hold Command, make another layer, fill it in, either with a darker color or a lighter color, it doesn't really matter. And then you could change the order and then just offset it. I'm going to get the move tool to make a bigger movement. Undo. Let's see this. I just made this shape. No, I made this shape. Okay, so that's the thing that we need to offset. And we would, there we go. Yeah, and that's how you can make that building look really special. I know this video was really long, so I hope that you were still able to follow along. Please let me know if you have any other questions.